Okay, everyone, again, this is March 23rd, 3:31 my time. Doing another quick analysis since that seems to be how I've dedicated my day at this point. Wanted to take a couple of screenshots from two different vessels headed into Tacoma. Open up a Word document next to it just to kind of list out the points. Not saying these are exact scale from cropping and bringing them in, but they're fairly close for conversation. Point number one is both vessels are in approximately the same location in the shipping canal, lined up off of this boulder. It's close to the back of each vessel, so it has cleared the island. The EPS pctc has an inferior mirage with a fold line halfway between the actual plug logo and its mirror image. Fold line's right about here. We see the mirroring effect. Everything doubles up across that band. The Tote, on the other hand, has no signs of a mirage at the current distance that it's at. Earlier from that video, when it was transiting behind Robbins Point Lighthouse, it could be argued that there was the start of miraging back there. The wake and bow spray is visible on the Tote. This is the area here, and to me originally this just looked like water was being pumped from two ports at the front. Again, based on my research looking into Marine Tracker, many images of the vessel show that same type of bow spray. The EPS, of course, the mirage would be hiding it at this point, but there is no signs of wake or bow spray. Both of these images show the water line at the left edge of the lighthouse point at about the same distance. There's someone standing here, but there's just a little bit of a stepped effect coming up to the dark boulder. That's the same stepped effect that's right here. They should be pretty similar tide heights. Not expecting anything to be varied dramatically, but as far as the official tide heights, I'm sure Bobby's got more accurate information on that than I would be able to come up with at this point. Which gets us into discussing the apparent geometric horizon. Sometimes people would argue that the horizon would be here, which falls just at that step in the beach structure that I was just discussing, instead of midway up the boulder. We see on the Tote it's midway up the boulder and not down at the stepped effect. But the lead edge of where the water appears in front of this point by the lighthouse would have to suggest that they are similar water heights, and that in the distance becomes a matter of interpretation, what is apparent and not geometric. A geometric would have to be consistent, and we are not seeing that in this short distance. Both of these ships have rounded the corner, so we're probably, I'm guessing, within 7 miles maybe in like a 6 to 7 mile range from the observation point. So again, I guess I've already jumped ahead as far as where the apparent horizons are. And the last thing to note would be the surface water conditions and reflectivity. They're notably different. The surface of the EPS, this is your typical diffuse reflection off of a choppy water surface. The one underneath the tote seems relatively smooth, although I'm not sure the time of day and the lighting conditions. We are not seeing any significant reflections or contrast. But we can note that they are both notably different. These are all things that I look at in the analysis of observations across water. Some of them are telltale signs. This here, again, there's diffuse reflections. Sometimes there's signs of cross-banding because refraction builds over distance. You may see different distance zones and how light from that surface, that water surface, is redirected based on progressive conditions. And sometimes you will have a diffuse mirage that will produce an apparent raised water line in front of the specular mirage, which creates the mirroring. It is a progressive stepping effect, and there's really nothing typically higher than the mirror line. But again, that is the position I have now until I see something else that changes that thought process. Anyhow, I think that's going to be long enough for this one as well. And it kind of gives insight to a thought process for these types of observations. Have a good night.